The following is a special presentation of the PDF Sports Network.
Hey, look at that. We're live. And big shout out to the guys at PDF Sports. Dave and the gang. We linked up this week and some big news. PDF is picking up Way Too Early with Patt for rebroadcast on the PDF Sports Network. So big welcome, shout out to the PDF crowd and their audience. Welcome to Way Too Early with Patt. For those that do know what Way Too Early with Patt is, or even who Patt is, just one of those semi-pro guys, coached for a while, and just love the culture of semi-pro football, minor league football, whatever you want to call it. So on Sunday mornings, we do this 20 to 30 minute show that just says, good morning to everybody, kind of wraps up the week. For those that don't know what the three Bleezys are, the three Bleezys, that's the big show. That happens every Wednesday or Thursday, depending on their schedules during the season, where they do a lot of absolutely awesome stuff and review the games and do a real professional production. And like that's kind of like the headliner. So me, I kind of just set the table. They cook the dinner, so to speak. So big shout out. Sponsor, Pioneer Inc. Sports. Go to pioneersportsinc.com. You can check that out. It gives you some of the history of minor league football along with some news from around semi-pro and youth, concentrating on the New York area. So welcome to that. So have a few things on the docket for today, so to speak. So we're going to check out some things. The first thing that I want to do is make some announcements. So I got the board up here. And again, I'm not nearly as fancy as the big show, so you guys got to figure that out. Big shout out Black's Barbecue, by the way. Before you know, it will be barbecue season. To tell you the truth, it's always barbecue season. So if you have a outing or something that you need to have catered, regardless of if it is barbecuing, whether or not, contact Coach Black and he will set you up. Sounds good. So I do have a really cool interview this morning that we're going to get to first. You don't know who it is. You're not going to get who it is, promise you. Good morning, sir.
What's up? Thank you for having me, man.
Man, the pleasure is mine. Speak real quick so I can get the volume up.
Yeah, can you hear me?
There it is. Perfect. So, for those of you, actually, no, I'm not going to do for those of you that don't know you because that's the big show. This is Way Too Early with Pat. This is Coach Sherrod from the New York Dolphins. How are you doing this morning, sir?
Doing pretty good, man. How you doing?
Beautiful, man. So, PDF Sports picked up the show. Of course, we're still doing it on the Bleezys every Sunday morning. So, the things that you know that I highlight are especially the real positive programs in the area that are doing things the professional way that puts semi-pro, minor league, whatever you want to call it, in the best possible light. And, of course, the New York Dolphins are on that list.
I appreciate that. That's big.
Indeed. So talk to us. So last year was year 2?
Yeah.
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 All right. So talk to us about the progression from year 1 to year 2, and then of course, since we're in preseason mode, how we're going to go to year 3, because there's a lot of programs that put out really cool jerseys, and you have one of, if not at least top 3 uniforms in semi-pro. I will give you that. A lot of teams just put out cool uniforms and then you don't hear from them. They don't even make it to the field, or it ends up being an absolute trash product. You, on the other hand, you said you were going to do something. Y'all did it. and now we see this progression going on. Talk to us from year 1 to year 2 to year 3.
Uh, well, year one, as a new program, there's always going to be things that come into play when it comes to getting the team on the field, having players at practice, understanding what we need to do as coaches and owners and things like that. And then after ironing it out in the off season, we came back year 2, and it just seemed like the train just kept moving. We were very serious about the things we wanted to do. We planned properly, we budgeted properly, and we got it done.
Awesome. So this year we're attempting to do spring and fall. I mean, the last year you did kind of spring and fall, but it wasn't league all year long. So
Yeah, we
talk
had
to
an
us about that.
independent schedule in the spring last year, and then we did the EFA for the fall. Now this year we got an opportunity to get into the Big East for the spring, so we're gonna do the Big East for the spring, and we are hopefully gonna be committed to the EFA for the summer.
Awesome. Last year we saw the progression of your quarterback. Quarterbacks that's the toughest the toughest thing in terms of putting a team together on the field. If you have a quarterback that could do the job, it kind of you go as far as they take you one way or another. Talk to us about the quarterback position.
The kid is dedicated. He's eager to learn, and he's young, so he understands that with his age, he's got a lot to learn, and he's willing to take the time to learn those things, listen to the coaches, talking to us and things like that. So having someone around that's like that and so coachable, it just helps out. It makes the job 10 times easier.
So last we left off, you were I was asking you about your staff and how the size of your staff, pause, um, is an indication of how well your organization runs. So the first thing is kind of mention some of the guys that are on your staff and what their responsibilities are, because some programs in general, not just semi-pro, have very large staffs with a bunch of guys that don't do anything. It's the same, like, one or two people are kind of doing things. Everybody else is just wearing a really cool shirt. So talk to me about your staff and what their specialties are.
We have Brian, who, it is no secret, is going to be the head coach for at least the spring. He deals with finances. Jerry deals with apparel. I deal with football operations. Coach Matt helps us out on every front, basically. Coach Renzo deals with paperwork. He helps out with management. Coach Steve helps us out with the players and keeping the players in line. So everybody has their role in what they do and the part that they play to make sure that the machine is running properly. Everybody's just trying to do the best they can to make sure we change the way we do football for real.
So, question for you: you guys were very critical of the referees last year.
Say again?
Right? So you were very critical of referees last year.
Yes.
In general, refereeing. So instead of going back and kind of rehashing what happened and stating your claim on any particular call, what is your expectations of officials, and what do you think a person in your position, a coach or a owner of a team, either or, should have in terms of expectations of officials, and whose responsibility is it?
Well, with all the leagues that go on, everyone has their different modifications to the rules, and I think that's really the tough part on officials, because there's no way that the high school ref is gonna know the EFA modified rules versus the Big East modified rules, and then the LAL modified rules. It's pretty tough for them to know everything at one time. But I think it's the responsibility of the league to have a conversation with the commission of refs or whoever they need to speak to, so that everybody is on board with the rules and how they're supposed to ref the games. I think last year that was like the biggest problem, is like not really knowing what modifications to the rules are actually in play versus we're just going to call what we think we should call at whatever moment.
Awesome. I absolutely agree with that 100%. So lastly, and again, I'll let you talk about your program after this before we move on to the next thing. What would make somebody want to come out and check out a Dolphins game? The biggest issue in semi-pro is having a fan base or a following that is not just other semi-pro. So I hear the little one in the background, which is absolutely awesome, right? And we've had reintroduced Al Austin's Proud Dads Club last week in terms of getting the atmosphere together. It's fan friendly and kid friendly. So, what's the Dolphins' role in this, and what do you guys have going that's going to make me want to take my 8-year-old and my 11-year-old to a game?
So, just being in a facility where, of course, there could be no smoking, is absolutely kid friendly. We gotta kind of change the way we do things. We gotta be behind gates. We have to make sure that everybody is safe. And I think that's the biggest thing: being able to get a permit for a school, and being able to host your games there, because it just creates a safer environment for kids and families to come out and really enjoy the game of football, rather than worrying about who's there and who could get in, who could be around, and who's who, for that matter. So basically, this the family dynamic that the Dolphins bring on the sideline, and then trickling down to the fans, making sure that the fans are safe, the fans are feeling like they could be comfortable enough to come out and enjoy themselves.
Awesome. So, has camp started already?
Yes.
Workouts. Awesome. So, last question. Tell us what the schedule is for camp and what your main goals are in terms of getting work done to be able to get onto the field for opening weekend.
Right now, we just conditioning. Brian wants us to be the most conditioned team in semi-pro, and I think that matters, because as the season progresses, towards the tail end of the season, there's a lot of people go down, injuries and things like that happen, and being able to have the next guy have enough stamina to finish the game, or being able to have those first guys, get to the end of the game and be able to be like, all right, I can still breathe, I can be all right, so conditioning.
Awesome.
I think we just started running routes the other day. Like we just started seeing footballs. So yeah, definitely trying to get everybody's, breathing on, getting them loose and getting them ready to run for the games.
Awesome. Well, thank you for spending some time with us this morning. And any last words about the Dolphin program before we head out this morning?
The New York Dolphins is the best adult amateur program in semi-pro sports, now that David Patterson has hung up his coaching. So anybody out there that's looking for a home, that's looking for a place to go, shout out the Dolphins. Look out for the Dolphins, because we are growing, and no team is perfect. No team is perfect. If you find a perfect team, don't join it, because you will now make that team imperfect. So no team is perfect. We're all imperfect in our own way. We're not going to always agree on everything, but we can agree to this, that on the Dolphins, we are family on and off the field. And once you've got me in your life, you kind of can't get rid of me. So, and we got the Let's Go Dolphins in the background. Yes.
Let's go Dolphins. All right, Coach.
Thank you again, man.
So that was Coach Roy. That was awesome. And by the way, for those of you owners, players, and such, I absolutely will give you an opportunity to come on the show and rep your product. Absolutely. Again, the mode here a little bit different than the big show. Again, shout out to Three Bleezys. The big show, Three Bleezys, is on Wednesdays or Thursdays, depending on schedules during the season. As soon as they figure that out, I'm sure they will release what their plans are for this particular year. So moving on, we have our Dynasty Dream season. So we had our brackets set up, and let me bring you over to the bracket real quick. Now, the bracket last week, we ended up with our final four. Now, I'm just going to get straight to the point here. So we have the Knowles, the Maulers, Chambersburg, and the Shamrocks in our final four. And who do I have advancing? I have Chambersburg advancing against the Knowles, and I have the Shamrocks advancing against Albany. Now, again, you absolutely can disagree with me, 100%. In fact, please let me know why you disagree with me or what you would have and what the reasons are. Here's the thing. So, Seminoles, let's go to that first matchup Seminoles versus Chambersburg. Seminoles, no doubt, in terms of their dynasty. So we're not talking about anybody who is a subpar team. Definitely not. I gave Chambersburg the edge. I've been looking at Chambersburg film, and they are a different breed, a different animal altogether. Some people brought up compensation of players, which in itself is a interesting argument. Whether you are playing against more of a professional, and big shout out to Duncan and his PFA who went undefeated yesterday in nationals, which I'm going to get to in a second. He refers to semi-pro as professional advancement football, so that's what he refers to it as, and the different degrees of professionalism could be presentation. It also could be in terms of compensation of players. So the traditional minor league or semi-pro, as you know it in this area, is more of a pay to play. And in fact, some leagues actually have rules that you cannot pay players. Some leagues have rules that says you cannot compensate players. Difference, but we're not going to get into the legalese this morning. We'll save that for another day. So I do have Chambersburg advancing over the Knowles. I think just across the board, Chambersburg just has too much consistency for the Knowles, like in terms of 11 on 11. Just my take on it. On the other side, and again, for those that don't know the Chambersburg Cardinals, a lot of people that know the Chambersburg Cardinals knows like the later end of their dynasty, which was the mid 2000, well 2000s, early 2010s or what have you. But Chambersburg won their first championship in 1969. So historically speaking, they got a little history on the Knowles too. But again, love Knowles, rep New York always. By the way, big shout out to Fordham. Had my little girl's 8th birthday there yesterday for the women's basketball team, and they did an awesome job. If you get a chance, make sure you support your local college teams and what have you. They really appreciate it, especially if they're not Division One. Well, actually, Fordham is Division One, but if they're not like one of those like Power Five, like big time schools, they definitely appreciate your business and appreciate the attention that you um, give them. So on the other side of the bracket, we have the Maulers coming out of the Northwest playing the Shamrocks coming out of the New England region. And I got to give the nod to the Shamrocks on this one. They just have too much for too long, to tell you the truth. And they have been a full tilt machine for decades. And everybody in the New England area, nobody that I spoke to could even kind of like bat an eye and say anything like how the Shamrocks could improve or any like a chip in the armor, so to speak, from the 1960s all the way up until 2021. So it's only right, I guess, in the season in which they stop operations that we give them the honor of getting into the championship game in our dynasty dream season. Again, make sure you check out Pioneer Sports and yeah, make sure check out pioneersportsinc.com, and you could check out the bracket and also get a couple links in terms of history of semi-pro football, minor league football, and get a little bit of context to it, because of course the easy thing to do is to just say that your team is the best and the best ever without even doing any research on it. But might want to try something different. Cool. So moving on. Shout out to Spin Move, by the way, for the awesome graphics. Hey, speaking of which, what's up, dude?
What's going on?
How are you?
A little banged up, but we're good.
A little banged up. You had a rough day yesterday?
Nah, I caught a awkward hit. Got the wind knocked out of me pretty bad. Shoulders messed up, but I'm good.
So that was the end of your day or no?
Nah.
No, not with your Juan Rodriguez. No way. You kind of just shake it off and then
Go back in there.
win another championship championship MVP. Where you at right now?
We're at the Airbnb in Orlando, about to head out in a few.
Sounds good, man. Congratulations,
Thank you,
sir.
thank you.
Oh man. So tell us about the game,
It was
man.
a good atmosphere, man. We came out a little sluggish. Not the game plan how we didn't come out how we planned, but fought through it, stuck together, and got the W at the end of the day.
You guys got a machine going, man. I
Yeah,
tell you, you definitely got this thing going. Tell us about how fun. Like it was fun before you guys were the the juggernaut that you have
yeah,
become over the last couple months.
yeah,
Um, Tell us about the importance of what you guys went through before in terms of taking losses
yeah.
so that you appreciate right now even more.
You know, going we started the foundation, so taking our lumps early in the EFA against to the Pharaohs, Gators, and stuff like that, and then you know the 22 season when we came back and lost in the playoffs to the Pharaohs, kind of just I would say that season on started this whole run that we got right now, where we were just tired of losing, and guys brought into practice, buying into systems, recruiting some good players, and then from there everybody buying in. It just led to where we're at right now.
Mm, indeed. So, a lot of people in the semi-pro world, especially the guys that have done the trip to Florida, done the trip to wherever it is to win a national game, whether it's a bowl game, national championship, whatever you want to call it. Um, they are saying that those teams then become like in a separate class. So you have the teams that never win championships ever, but just compete, locally, regionally, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And then you have the teams that win championships in their local leagues or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's that next step where it's, oh no, you won games like after getting your luggage out of a carousel at the airport. That puts you in a different class. Do you feel that way now that you are part of that club?
We just try to take it one day at a time and just show that we belong and prove doubters wrong. We got naysayers that say whatever they want, but we just go out there, do our thing, and the results show for themselves.
Was the task tougher than what you thought it would be, or after again, a lot of people don't understand the dynamics behind getting a whole entire team,
Yeah,
especially when people don't get it done and they uh, are unable to get their like. Here's the funny thing: when the Seminoles played the Shamrocks a couple years back at Nationals, both of those teams traveled light, and that's
yeah.
the thing that you hear most often, right? So when you get a chance to actually pull it off, get your team there or most thereof, and put on a good showing and win, was it harder than you thought or no?
I don't think it was so much harder. I think it was just more like it took longer to get started, if that makes sense in the game. Like we had opportunities. It was just a lot of like we practiced a couple times, but you could show the rust for not playing for a couple weeks and stuff, and then a little jet lag, as they say. But after that, we like locked in and did what we did. It wasn't a pretty win, but we got it done, and that's the thing. That was our MO the whole year. Like we might not start out great, but we find ways to win, and we stick together as a team, and you know, get it done.
Awesome. Last question for you. Now that you go from the underdog, the one that's chasing,
Yeah.
now you are the hunted. Now people, you have a
Target on
you
our
have
back.
a target on your back. How does the mindset change? How does anything change?
Oh, it just means work harder because we know we got people like we're a target. So now we got to prove why we say what we are and just prove that we are good and just be consistent. Go back to practice, the little details, and just keep continuing to put on a good show and just execute. Honestly,
Awesome. So we'll let you get going and head on back, and definitely a hero's reception when you get back.
thank you, thank you.
Uh, we'll definitely have you. So any last words before you head out?
No, man, I'm glad we could get it done for the Northeast.
Beautiful. All right, man. Safe
All right,
travels.
thank you, man. Have a good one.
Beautiful. All right. So yeah, man, got some things going on. Cool, cool, cool. So I think we're backwards on this thing, right? Are we back? So yeah, we're backwards on this thing. So we do it the old school way. Cool. All right. So big shout out to Spin Move for doing this thing with these graphics, man. So couple of games this week, what you want to call it, nationals. Again, some of them are national champions, some of them are bowl games, whatever. Whenever you take your team and you get on a plane or go over 8 hours somewhere, you definitely accomplish something. Great job. So in the first, well, just the first one on the schedule that I had, the Michigan Bills. Now here's the thing: we're not going to get into this today because it'd just be too much. But you have a AAA team, AAA designation, Michigan Bills, playing against a single A team. Notice I didn't even say double. I said single A because in the ECFL they have double A, well, AAA, double A, and even single A. So this team, the Southington Gems, great program, great organization, went down to Florida, played a AAA team, and it was a 13-0 game, and the game was actually pretty tight. A lot of experts thought that this was going to get ugly really quickly because of that designation. So maybe for next week, we talk about this double A, triple A stuff. Another, is it PFA team, the Motor City Rams, who, by the way, had one of the most impressive uniform unveilings that I've seen in a while. They had like the Corvette out there that matched in terms of color, and the man the cleats were, again, I don't know much being the old guy that I am, but even I was impressed by it. Anyhow, when you look good like that and you make videos of yourself, like, showing out in terms of the fashion, you gotta get it done on the field, and they did. 16-13 as they beat the Austin Vipers. So that was a good game as well. The Admirals, I saw this game. The Admirals were actually down in this one early, but ended up being able to come back, and then it wasn't overtime. It might have been overtime. Yes, they tied it up and then put it in overtime. No, just kidding. Because it was 34-27, it was not overtime. It was literally in true Admirals form, as you know, that they've won their championship on a Hail Mary. So on this one, it was the last possession, couple seconds left. They came back and they had the go-ahead score to beat the Columbus Fire 34-27. The Midwest guys, Columbus Fire, I mean, you had a good day yesterday, but I noticed that nobody mentioned Columbus in that one. But Duncan got some explaining to do. But nah, just kidding. Duncan was on there. He looked like he saw his firstborn, walk across the stage at Princeton or Harvard. He looked so proud. It was absolutely awesome. Or Northwestern. I'm sorry. So let me not have the East biased, so to speak. So you also had the Illinois Cowboys taking on the Joplin Crusaders. I saw a little bit of this one, and I do know Joplin was talking a lot. They were unable to get it done. 30-16 was the final score on that one. They've been catching hell on some of the pages because of that as well. Detroit Ravens handled business in impressive form. They won 41-6. That's a team that is used to the travel. They're pretty much a perennial powerhouse. I know Duncan will correct me if I'm wrong. I might have it mistaken, but I think I'm pretty good on that. Nonetheless, New York Bears, as you just saw from Juan Rodriguez, had the 30-13 victory over the Tri-City Outlaws. That's that GDFL thing, and again, everybody was saying how strong the GDFL was, regardless of their finish. If it's comp, so to speak. And again, putting your team on a plane, heading all the way down to Orlando. Come on now. Got something there. Oh, this team, the Indy Bison, and I know this is going to be something. Is this a statement? Well, the Indy Bison are a quality team. I don't think anybody's going to argue with that. Are the Erie Express what they used to be? 41-0. That's a tough one. I don't think they're what they used to be, but either way, we got it done, and that's what matters. So we ended up being pretty good today. A little bit of a issue when it came to the connectivity, but we got 2 interviews done. Coach Sherrod, big shout out to the Dolphins. Juan, the champ, MVP, great interview, and gave you the updates on what's going on. Upcoming New York Bandits heading down to Florida for the Sunshine Bowl. There's a couple other teams that are traveling, including the Golden Lions heading out to Vegas. We'll give you Big East. The schedule for the NEAFL is out. I'm going to try to get some guys over there, Saplinski, maybe get him on the show next week to talk about some of the matchups to watch. We'll break down the schedule, see who else is playing football, see if the Den is still alive. Again, we're talking about it all. Chime in. Way too early with Pat. Shout out to PDF. Shout out to Black's Barbecue. And, of course, the big show, the three Bleezys, Kadeem, Steph, and Ramsey on the big show Wednesdays or Thursdays. What time? You know the vibes. Whenever they get to it. Coming up soon, and as we kick off the spring season, they'll give you that information pretty soon, I should say. All right, y'all. Enjoy your Sunday. Go Birds. And great job. Congratulations to the New York Bears and all the winners yesterday.